There's this hidden battle going on inside your head every single time you sit down to do important work. So today, we're going to dig into why your brain seems hardwired to resist that kind of focus, and more importantly, how you can actually start to win that fight. So picture it. You sit down at your desk. You're ready to finally tackle that big, meaningful project. The one that really matters. Maybe it's designing a new piece of software, writing that critical report, or mapping out a whole new strategy. It's the kind of work that could really make a difference. And yet, what happens? Your cursor just blinks on the blank page. And then suddenly you find yourself clearing out your inbox, checking team messages, or, getting another cup of coffee. Basically, anything but starting the real work. So what is actually going on here? Well, what you're avoiding is a feeling that experts call the descent. And no, this isn't just about trying to focus. It's that very distinct, almost physical sensation of shifting into a deeper, much more demanding mental gear. And here's the absolute key. Your brain, which is this incredibly efficient machine built for survival, actively fights against this descent. This isn't about you lacking willpower. It's literally a design feature of your brain's hardware. To really get why this resistance is so strong, we've got to look at these two competing networks in your brain that are basically in a constant tug of war for your attention. And this slide, wow, it just lays it all out. On one side, you've got your default mode network, or DMN. Think of this as your brain's idle mode. It's super cheap to run, and it's what's active when you're daydreaming or thinking about other people. But on the other side, you've got the task positive network, or TPN. This is your A-team, your focus engine. It handles deep concentration. But here's the catch. It's a real gas guzzler. It is incredibly expensive for your brain to run. And this quote right here hits the nail on the head. These two networks are what scientists call anti-correlated. They really do work like a seesaw. When your focus network, the TPN, powers on, your idle network is supposed to power down. But that switching process, it takes a lot of energy, and frankly, your brain would just rather not bother. And look, this isn't just some abstract feeling. We're talking about a real physical price you pay to do deep work. Okay, get this. Your brain only makes up about 2% of your body's total weight. I mean, it's a remarkably small organ when you think about it. But, and this is just wild, that tiny little organ eats up a massive 20% of your body's entire energy supply. And that's just when you're resting. So when you fire up that deep focus network, that energy burn goes through the roof. So that's why you feel physically wiped out after a couple of hours of intense focus. It's not in your head. You have literally burned through the available glucose in your prefrontal cortex. That feeling of being totally fried is a real biochemical state. This all leads to this crazy paradox. We all want to get into that magical state of flow, right? Where work feels effortless and time just flies by. But the price of admission for flow is anxiety. Just before you drop in, you're holding all this complexity in your head, but you don't have a solution yet. Your brain sees this as a threat and it starts screaming, "Abort, abort, this is too hard, go do something easier." And you know what? Most of the time, we listen. So when our brain screams abort, what do? We run for cover. We take refuge in the easy, the comfortable, the alternative. We retreat into what author Newport perfectly describes as shallow work. This is all the stuff like answering emails, attending pointless meetings, formatting documents, you know the drill. And the reason this stuff is so seductive is because it feels productive, but it asks almost nothing from us cognitively. This table really breaks down the choice we're making, often without even realizing it. Shallow work gives you these constant, tiny rewards, a little dopamine hit for every email you send. It feels easy, you feel busy. But the result? It's usually pretty flimsy. Deep work is the total opposite. The reward is way down the road and getting there feels hard, but the result is where everything of value is created. We're talking about real quality, lasting value, true mastery. Okay, so we've established that our brains are basically wired to resist the hard stuff. But here's the good news. This is not a life sentence. You can absolutely train your ability to go deep. And this is maybe the most important thing to take away from all this. Your struggle to focus is not a character flaw. It doesn't mean you're lazy or undisciplined. It's a design feature of a brain that was built for a very different world. And just like any feature, it can be trained, it can be managed. So here are 4 practical, science-backed ways to start. First, you gotta treat deep work like a muscle. Don't try to go for 8 hours on day 1. Start with a solid 60 or 90-minute session and build from there. Second, defend your space. Make your environment hostile to distractions.
Every notification is a little engine designed to pull you right back up to the surface. Kill them. Third, build a ritual. Have a consistent routine, a specific time, a specific place that signals to your brain, okay, it's time to shift gears now. It makes that transition so much easier. And finally, manage your fuel. Deep focus literally runs on glucose and good sleep. You cannot do this work on fumes.
So why? Why go through all this trouble? Why fight your brain's natural urge to just stay on the surface? Because, well, just look at this. Studies suggest the average knowledge worker today gets less than 3 hours of actual, real, deep work done in an entire week. The rest? It's just shallow churn, that illusion of being productive. This means the opportunity for people who can actually train this descent, who can focus deeply, it's absolutely massive. When you boil it all down, it's this simple. The quality of what you produce is a direct reflection of the quality of your focus. There really are no shortcuts here. And that leaves us with one last question to really sit with. I want you to think about the most ambitious, the most skillful, the most impactful version of yourself that you can imagine. What part of that potential are you trading away every day just for the temporary comfort of checking one more email? The answer to that's why learning to descend is the most important work of all.